If you was born between the years of 2002 and 2006, you must have gotten at least a cool toy based on whatever popular movie was released around that time at your favorite fast food restaurant. I was born in 2004 and I had a lot of Happy Meal toys from McDonald's as a kid. Now, from the late 2000s to mid 2010s, Disney went on a hiatus from fast food promotions for whatever reason. So Dreamworks was the studio with the most nostalgic McDonald's promotions. For me, at least. But seriously, from 2006 to 2015, there was at least a set of toys based on a Dreamworks IP. I made a video covering every set from the late 2000s, but since you guys enjoyed that video a lot, it's time for a sequel. I'm looking back at every promotion from 2010 to 2015 because I want to bring you some childhood memories. Unlike the previous decade, there's a lot of promotions where, depending on where you live, the sets either had more or less toys than in Panama, which is where I live. Which sets did I consider the best ones? Which sets did I consider the worst ones? Well, Sherman, we're going back in time to find the answers. Despite being used for a supplement in Madagascar, the Penguins were extremely popular that not only they got their own Christmas short, but Nickelodeon gave them their own show. Said show got a set of toys at McDonald's as well. This is easily one of, if not the most iconic Dreamworks McDonald's promotion. It was also the first one that was based on a show rather than a movie. So, Kowalski analysis. Skipper received two toys, one where you wind him up and he rolls inside of a wheel, and another one where it's at the tethered, so if you wave your hand, it makes some funny noises, but obviously it doesn't work nowadays. The latter one is the one that I remember one of my cousins having that kid. I definitely say the Skipper Rolls is the better toy because the tether one just has weird looking eye painting. As for the other penguins who made their Happy Meal debut, Kowalski received two toys, one where you can launch a cylinder and another one where you straight up launch it out of a catapult, and you can choose from either King Julian or Mort. Anyone who got that toy probably chose Mort because the Nickelodeon show decided to turn him into Dan Schneider, and when I mean that Mort has a creepy obsession with King Julian's feet. Ew. Rico received two different launchers. This first one is a disc launcher. He came in 3 discs, and the other one is easily the most iconic and recognizable toy out of the set. Rico Fish Flyer. One of my cousins had this toy as a kid. Private for some reason received only one toy, whereas the other penguins received two. He got a funny looking water squirter. Look at that pose. And we also got a penguin's periscope. I'm assuming that the two penguins that are featured in the toy that aren't Private and Rico as the stickers are supposed to be Skipper and Kowalski. So those were the toys that were released in countries like Panama and the United States. But in some countries there were 5 more toys, those being penguin binoculars, a Private with a bull rat feature, a Skipper clip-on accessory, a locker with papers that you can only see what it has, with a red magnifying glass of plastic, and a box with an activity book. Compared to the previous decade, they managed to start out to the 2010s on a strong note because these toys are fun to play and great for display pieces. I would get this set a score of an S. S for Skipper. Man, it feels weird to look back for when How to Train Your Dragon was brand new. Nobody was expecting this movie to become one of the studio's most iconic franchises. So of course, being the first movie to be released during the 2010s decade, it received a set of toys at McDonald's. This one is interesting because in some countries such as Panama and the US, we got a set of 8 toys. But in other countries, such as the UK, they only got 6 toys. The first toy on the set is of course Toothless, and you can tell because Hiccup is riding on top of him. This one requires to put the wings first. Next up we had Nether, and the reason I chose this one to be the second dragon I cover is because he's the other dragon that has a rider on top of it. In this case, Astrid, Hiccup's love interest. This monster of a dragon is called, well, Monstrous Nightmare, and he's just an awesome looking figure. I mean, look at this guy. And here we have Terrible Terror, which is anything but a scary dragon. Look at this guy, he's cute. Unlike the other dragons in which they had the gimmick of flapping their wings, you can actually open his mouth. Next up we had a generic Night Fury. Obviously this isn't Toothless since he looks more menacing, has a really awful grin, and doesn't have Hiccup up top of him. Or maybe, hear me out, this is supposed to be Toothless when Hiccup first met him. This goofy dude is Grunkle, and he is a fiery missile, which I like that, but he's not really the only dragon that doesn't have the wings as a separate piece. It's possibly because of his small size, but it just ends up making him look lame compared to the other dragons, in my opinion. From a lame dragon toy to an awesome two-headed dragon toy is hideous Sibbleback when rotated heads. Awesome! And finally, we had RD. No, not that RD. We're talking about RD, the main evil dragon from the movie. Obviously, because this is a movie about dragons, they chose dragons to be the characters present in the set. But for some reason, the UK, they excluded Hiccup and Toothless and also RD. Very weird that they excluded both the protagonist and the antagonist, but alright then. Anyways, let me tell you that for an amazing movie that started an iconic franchise, How to Train Your Dragons managed to have an amazing set of Happy Meal toys. Not necessarily in the same level of excellent as the Penguins of Madagascar set, but still a pretty good one. I would give it a score of an A. One last thing, I am very sorry if I referred all of the dragons as male, because there's a very good chance that some of these are actually girl dragons. Which leads us to the next movie I'm going to talk about. Shrek Forever After is an interesting movie for two things. One, it came out in Panama on my Zit's birthday, July 7, 2010, and two, the movie had a mixed reception when it came out, but now it's viewed in a more positive light. Like when the previous movie, McDonald's makes Shrek-themed desserts, did anyone eat those and how did it taste like in 3D glasses? Which were infamously recalled after it was discovered that they were made with toxic liquid, especially Puss's cup. See, this is why death is after you. Okay, there's a lot of toys. Some characters were exclusive to some countries, some characters had two different versions, but they do have one thing in common. They're talking toys that obviously don't work anymore. But some toys have an extra gimmick of coming with snap-on accessories where you can change them to the normal and alternate tiny versions of themselves, which fits the whole plot of the movie pretty well. Let's start with the Batarians. Shrek's two figures are him doing the roar, while the other one comes with a baby holder when Fergus, and if you remove it, he has a shield. I prefer the second one because it shows Shrek as a good father, and I feel that after this movie, all of his figures are him always doing the roar. I get that he wants to make that kid happy, but I like something different for once. Donkey's two figures are him eating a waffle, and the other one comes with a saddle. Both figures are good, but I prefer the first one because it fits Donkey better. Fiona's two figures are based on her barbarian design. I like the pose they gave for the first one, but man, compare it to the movie and you can see that she's missing a lot of details. The other one, which I had as a kid, is a little better and you can put her armor if you want her as a barbarian. Thick Puss figures has him sitting like a cat, and standing with a clip-on cape accessory. Both of his figures are fancy, but the first one has a better pose, so I like that one more. Gladiator Gingy is another case where the second figure is better. The first one has a really bland pose, while the second one allows you to switch from one sweet cookie to one tough cookie. Dragon only has one figure, which comes with the disco ball from the climax, while Pinot little wooden puppet. It's just a re-release of his Shrek the Third toy, but with no sleeves, gloves, or socks paint detailing. Wow, what an upgrade! Lies! As for newcomers, we had the 3 German little pigs, all looking really cute and funny. Brogan, one of the ogres from the Resistance, gets one of his few pieces of merchandise alongside it, which I hope is the one voiced by Christine Ska, Mabel from Gravity Falls. And finally, we had a big bag. Rumpelstiltskin! It's a decent figure in my opinion, it's just that his outfit for some reason is weirdly purplish instead of white. Now for some countries, Rumpel had a figure of him with a brown outfit and removable wig. It's a shame Panama didn't get the better toy out of him. Speaking of which, did you notice a lot of promotional material for Shrek Forever After depicts Rumpel wearing his angry wig, even though he was only seen wearing it for like 5 seconds in the actual movie? There was also a set of 4 watches. Shrek and Donkey are kid-sized wrist watches, while Puss and Gingy are clip-on watches. They look cool, but sadly they don't work anymore. Alright, that was a lot of toys for Shrek. So, my final thoughts, the regular toys are definitely pretty cool, because we got a ton of characters that don't receive a lot of merchandise, and also cool new figures of the pre-existing characters. So we'll get the talking figures a score of B, while the watches get a score of D. They had cool designs, but sadly, like I said before, they don't work anymore. Let's end the year 2010 on a bad, blue and brilliant note with the one and only Megamind. I'm sure these toys have presentation, right? Yeah, about that. Megamind himself can jump out of his mechanical suit if you push a button on his butthole. Interesting choice of a button placement, but still cool figure. Metro Man can throw punches when you push a button on his back, and he just looks so cool. He's easily the best toy out of the set. Titan is in a pod where it spins and opens when you push the button. Cool mechanic, but here's the first problem I had with the set. The figures don't scale well with each other. Without his mechanical suit, Megamind is small compared to Metro Man, while Titan is super tiny. Next we have Minion. My name is not Minion anymore, it's Chump. Shut up, Minion! He's a top. And because of it, he doesn't stand well on his own, plus he just looks horrible. Terrible paint detailing on his face. Now if you remember, Megamind had a limited cast of characters, so what is McDonald's gonna do for the rest of the set? Different variations of the pre-existing characters? Nope, enter the brain bots. I like the one that it's a microphone, and also the one that is basically a spinning pencil topper or something like that, but the rest, I'm sorry, these toys suck ass. In some countries, they only got a collection of brain bots with none of the other Megamind characters, including the titular character himself. Not only were the brain bots pretty forgettable, but they honestly just look way too similar to each other. Who would want toys out of them? But don't worry, McDonald's isn't sexist because they managed to include Roxanne in her yellow pullback scooter. Wait, since when did Roxanne had a scooter? From what I look at, she was supposed to have a scooter, but this was cut in the final movie. I'm assuming they included for her toy because otherwise they didn't know what to do out of the token girl character that wasn't action oriented like Fiona. In some countries, they got Metro Man, Minion, Roxanne, and 5 of the Brainbots. Yes, Megamind, the titular character, isn't present here. Megamind Forever After. Honestly, Megamind deserved a much better collection of Happy Meal toys. I feel they could have just made different variations of the Princess themed characters instead of having multiple Brainbots. I would give the regular collection of toys a score of D, while the set that only contains the Brainbots gets a score of E. Seriously, who would want those guys? Fu Panda already had an amazing set of toys for the first movie, so when a sequel that is considered superior to the original, can the same be said for these McDonald's toys? Poe's figure consists of him being balanced by Mantis, who got reduced into being part of Poe's toy. Yep, poor Mantis. Poe received a second toy based on his baby appearance, where you're supposed to carry a bowl of noodles into a plate. And yes, baby Poe is just as adorable as he was in the flashback of the movie. You're supposed to put Tigress in the corner of a table and watch her trying to balance a giant yin-yang symbol while she gave Monkey her own flipping mechanic that she had in the set for the first movie. Interesting. Viper and Cray are the 2 toys that I had as a kid. The former, you're supposed to wind her up and she goes crazy, while the latter, you push his legs and he spins around. Shifu is an interesting one. He's on top of a rocking board with 2 little beads inside. You're supposed to get the beads into the holes. For newcomers, we first have our main villain, Lord Shen. He's a fire missile, but with a twist. You're supposed to see if you can push all the buttons without launching the missile. Great toy, it's just that Lord Shen, especially his feathers, doesn't look as cool as he did in the movie. In Panama and the United States, we got those 8 toys, but in some countries they got 2 more characters. The first one is a why-not toy of Boss Wolf, a character that doesn't receive much merchandise, so that's pretty cool. And in the movie, Lord Shen ordered his minions to attack the Panda Village. Luckily for Poe, he was raised safely thanks to Mr. Pin, who not only adopted him, but he also got a toy where you're supposed to catch the noodles on a plate on top of him. Once again, it's a shame that Panama didn't receive an amazing toy like this one. Personally, I say the first movie had the better collection of toys, especially Poe. I don't like this Poe figure from the set, but there's still great toys featured in this collection, especially for characters that we didn't get much merchandise of it. I would get this set a score of an A. A for awesomeness. When how popular he was ever since his introduction in Shrek Dogs. Of course, El Gato con Botas received his 2 own películas, but also his own collection of toys at McDonald's for the first movie. Countries such as Los Estados Unidos recibieron 6 toys, while other countries such as in Panama received 8 juguetes. Puss himself received a figure where he does some swashbuckling if you move his cola. His figure is very similar to the one from the Shrek the Third set, except that he has his tail instead of a cape, he's holding his sword, and he doesn't have that horrendous smile, because that toy was just horrendo. His other figura is his appearance as a young baby kitty as seen in the flashback. When you push a button, he gets to do his signature Ojos Adorables. Big, realistic human face Humpty Alexander Dumpty received 2 figuras. The first one where you're supposed to pull his leg and have him look like he's talking, while the other one is his younger self from the flashback, where you wind him up and he walks like a maldito huevo. Kitty Softpaws also received two figuras. The first one has the same mechanic as Gato, where you move her cola and she does some swashbuckling. The other one, exclusive to some países like Panama. She dances as you spin her table around. And perhaps because the main villains Jack and Jill were deemed too Olympian to make juguetes out of them, the last two spots were taken by the Great Terror, who makes noises as you squeeze her, while her baby dog, exclusive to some países, pops out of her nest if you push a button. This is very similar to the Megamind sets, except that the toys are actually interesantes y divertidos. This makes this, en mi opinión por ciento, the best Shrek-themed McDonald's set of toys of all time. I will give it a score of an S. Meow. Madagascar 3 is my favorite of the trilogy. I know this is an unpopular opinion, but it's because I just really enjoy the story. It was a really funny movie, and the McDonald's toys are crack-a-lacking. What I love about this set is that they give the animals circus activities that fit their personalities well. Alex is a ringmaster because he's the star of Central Zoo Park. You push a button and he does curtsies. You get to shot Marty out of a cannon because he's crack-a-lacking crazy. Gloria spins around because she loves to dance. And Melman gets to cross the tractor because he's super nervous. Skipper is on top of the train and the other penguins pop out if you move it, while King Julian shares his toy with Sonia the bear. If you move her, he spins around. Speaking of newcomers, the toys consist of Gia doing gymnastics, Vitaly on a hula hoop on fire, Stefano on a canic much like when Marty, and a pullback circus dog. Some countries only had 6 toys, the main 4 friends, the penguins, and Gia. Other countries had 8 toys, those 6 characters plus King Julian on top of Sonia and Vitaly, and in other countries they got all 10 characters in the set. In Panama, we got the 8th set. Fun mechanics, a great roster, the inclusion of characters that rarely got merchandise. Easily the best Madagascar set of Happy Meal toys at McDonald's, in my opinion at least. I will give the set a score of an S. Rise of the Guardians marked the end of an era. It was the last Dreamworks movie that was distributed by Paramount Pictures, and sadly, it underperformed at the box office. It's a shame because this movie is underrated in my opinion. The movie, however, did manage to receive a set of toys at McDonald's. In some countries like the US, they only got 6 toys, while in other countries such as mine, Panama, received a total of 8 toys. Obviously, we started with Jack Frost. I remember that one of my cousins had this toy as a kid. What you're supposed to do is that he comes with these cardboard snowflakes and he's supposed to launch them, which I think is pretty awesome. His other toy released in other countries consists of a puzzle inside of a little kit. So I was about to talk about the next toy, but then I found out that for the Jack Frost puzzle kit, you can actually remove Jack's tabs out of him, which it's pretty cool. Nord, this movie's incarnation of Santa, is an interesting case because unlike the other Guardians, he doesn't get a figure of himself, but instead one of his globes. What you're supposed to do is that you push a button and the picture changes, one of North himself and another one of his Yetis. Sandy has two gimmicks on his figure. You can either have him spinning around or floating on his stand. Bunny can throw his boomerang, a single boomerang by the way, and two is a top spinner, meaning that you push a button and her top spins, plus her wings flap if you push a button, and in other countries she receives a keepsake. Our final toy in the collection is one of North's elves. When you push his legs, his face changes expressions. Much like when the Puss in Boots set from 2011, McDonald's managed to do a fantastic job when making toys despite the limited amount of characters featured in the movie. I do admit that I found it quite odd that the main villain, Pitch Black, wasn't featured in the set, but oh well, I'm perfectly fine with just having the Guardians and an elf. This is, in my opinion, the best set of McDonald's Happy Meal toys out of any Dreamworks property of all time. I'll be giving this set a score of an S. Yes, three sets got a score of an S in a row. From 2013 to 2017, 20th Century Fox was in charge of distributing Dreamworks movies, and the first movie from that era was, of course, The Croods. Now, I'm sure you might be thinking, oh, McDonald's surely makes some cool action figures of the titular characters, right? Nope, because instead we got these. Each toy came with a pile of blocks, a slingshot, and a figure, and you're supposed to launch the figure to knock down the building. In other words, Angry Birds, but it's the Croods. Interestingly, Rovio, the makers of Angry Birds, did create a Croods game to tie in with the movie, so maybe this is why they decided to go with an Angry Birds routine for the McDonald's toys. Once again, this is another set where you either got 8 or 6 toys depending on what country you live, and I guess if you had all of the toys, it would make for a fun time. Honestly, there's not much I can say about this set because every single toy is the exact same one but with different pieces. So I think it's just okay. Obviously, it's a downgrade from the previous sets, but at the same time, they're still pretty solid toys, so I would give it a score of a C. C for Croods. During summer of 2013, McDonald's made toys to coincide with the release of Despicable Me 2, therefore Turbo was completely skipped over, making it the only Dreamworks movie from 2006 to 2015 to do not receive any McDonald's promotion. Well, now let's move on with 2014, where we had not one, not two, but 3 Dreamworks movies released in that year. Let's begin, of course, with Mr. Peabody and Sherman. Thankfully, we had different types of toys. Well, kinda. Once again, depending on where you live, you had a different collection of toys than what we had on Panama. So the first 2 toys I want to talk about are these magnetic mazes, one based on the time machine and another one with Mr. Peabody on top of a pyramid. They're both pretty boring in my opinion. Next, the titular duo got a set of bobbleheads that came with a paper cutout with a maze of a different object. Sherman came with a time machine and Mr. Peabody a pyramid. The bobbleheads are pretty solid, but you can easily lose these 2 cutout pieces. We also got a Mr. Peabody right next to a time machine, which is actually a pinball machine. Okay, that was pretty cool. A picture style puzzle, which honestly it's boring. The time machine itself, which you can actually put it back together. And of course, the absolute best toy in the set, Sherman's head. I mean, look at it. It's literally just a Rubik's Cube in the form of Sherman's decapitated head. We also got a Spinner's magnet maze and Sherman's glider. Interestingly, there is a similar looking toy, but it doesn't have the wings, and it features Penny. Wait, it turns out that the wings are actually separated pieces and you're supposed to put them in a flaps. Damn! The last couple of toys are a Egypt dancing penny, a launcher featuring the titular duo, another launcher that has the time machine instead, and a pullback scooter featuring, surprise surprise, the titular duo. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of how 40% of the toys happen to be McNan and Mace's, but overall, I think this is a pretty decent collection of toys, so I would give it a score of a C. How to Train Your Dragon 2 is considered as one of the best animated sequels of all time. So, of course, McDonald's must live on the height on giving us awesome toys, right? Wrong. Well, at least in the US. Yes, the United States received frisbees. Now, I just want to point out that a kids' meal set that doesn't feature any toys does not automatically make it bad. For example, the Lego Movie received a series of 8 cups. Yeah, it's a disappointment that we didn't receive actual Lego as toys, but the cups are pretty solid and definitely won't poison you. But here, these frisbees are so ugly that is a huge disappointment and a downgrade from the original How to Train Your Dragon set. Meanwhile, look at other countries. What's this? They actually got actual dragon figures and not those stupid frisbees? Why? Why did United States was done dirty? Some countries got 8 toys, other countries got 14 toys. Yes, 14. I'm not going to talk about each toy individually since most of the gimmicks consist of flapping their wings, opening their mouths, but hey, so much better than those stupid useless frisbees. However, you might notice 2 interesting toys in the set. That's right, Hiccup and Astrid received their own toys. For the former, you can flap his wings, while the latter, you push a button on her back and she spins her hammer. I appreciate their inclusion and managed to make the set unique from the first one. Which definitely asks the big question. Why the hell the United States got frisbees instead of the action figures? What was wrong with those? We may never know. But yeah, if you live in countries like Panama and the United Kingdom, yeah, How to Train Your Dragon 2 managed to get great toys. But if you live in the United States, well, I'm so sorry for ya. I will give the frisbees a score of an E, while we'll give the regular toys a score of an A. If you thought the popularity of the Penguins of Madagascar was big enough to receive their own show, they managed to receive their own movie as well. Oh man, I can't wait to see what McDonald's is going to do for their Happy Meal set of toys. Well, this sucks. Yep. All the McDonald's did was reuse toys from the 2010 set based on the Nickelodeon show and give them different colors and replace any mention or references to the Nickelodeon show in favor to the 2014 movie, except the penguin telescope, the locker, and the bots. From what I searched, the only toy to remain exclusive to the 2010 set is the Skipper clip-on accessory that has been replaced by a Skipper figure that looks a lot like the one from the Madagascar 2 talking figure set, and a Skipper plushie that looks a lot like the Skipper plushie from the Madagascar 2 plush set. Wow! Not a single original toy made for the 2014 movie. How lazy! But Himage, you consider the 2010 set one of the best Dreamworks McDonald's promotions. What's wrong with getting a re-release? Well, for starters, people could easily mistook them for color variations of the 2010 set. Here's a post from McDonald's Latin America from Facebook. They're promoting the 2014 movie and said that they used the toys from the 2010 set based on the Nickelodeon show. The other issue I had when reusing toys from the older set would be the lack of new characters. You see, when any set based on a new entry on a popular movie franchise, we get to receive toys out of characters who rarely get merchandise off of it. I mean, when do you ever think Brogan would ever receive another toy of him again? They could have easily made toys out of the new characters, the North Wind, and the Bill and Tate could have easily had either bendable tentacles or suction cups, and he would have easily been an S tier toy. But nope, we just got the Penguins again. Penguins, you deserve so much better because this is easily the worst McDonald's promotion out of any Dreamworks property ever, in my opinion at least, because they were too lazy to come up with something new and instead they just reused toys out of an older set. As a result, I would have to give this set a score of an F. The final movie I'll be covering in this video is Home. All the toys in the set are different variations of O, the protagonist, and depending on what country. So, you know what? You get it. Do I need to repeat this for the 100th time to you? So, you think when only toys of one character, this would suck like the Brainbot set from the Megamind collection, right? Well, surprisingly no, because these toys are actually good. Purple O, which is his normal color, has 3 toys. One where he dances, one where his head pops out, and another one where his head would light up that obviously won't work anymore. There are also 2 orange O's. One where he's being sailing as he's hanging up upside down, and another one where he's holding a staff labeled as Heroic O. There's also a green O that is meant to represent him being nervous, while the yellow O is meant to be him being scared or something. The red O is obviously representing anger as he's shaking out of anger for whatever reason. The blue O doesn't really have any emotion, he just has Tip's cat on top of him that would spin around if he pushed his insignia on his outfit. And the pink O is meant to represent him doing the hard pose with his hands, which would also light up if you push a button on his back that obviously wouldn't work anymore. But it's okay because it's still a really cute toy. Home may be an extremely mid movie, but the McDonald's toys are surprisingly good. Yeah, they're all different variations of the protagonist, but it's okay because the toys have cool gimmicks and they look really cool. So I would give this set a score of a B. Thank God I chose to end with this and not Penguins of Madagascar 2014 because that set was extremely lazy. Well, and those were every single McDonald's Dreamworks promotion from 2010 to 2015. Here's my ranking from worst to best. Penguins of Madagascar 2014 movie, How to Train Your Dragon 2 Frisbees, Megamind Brainbots, Shrek Forever After Watches, Megamind, Mr. Peabody and Sherman, The Croods, Home, Shrek Forever After, Fu Panda 2, How to Train Your Dragon, How to Train Your Dragon 2, The Penguins of Madagascar Nickelodeon Show, Puss in Boots, Madagascar 3, and Rise of the Guardians. I hope I bring you a lot of happy memories and nostalgia with these toys. Let me know in the comments which ones do you consider the best ones and worst ones. Thank you so much for watching this video and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye!